Hello class, welcome to another edition of Mr. Macasa's Digital Lessons, and this digital lesson is dedicated to my 7th grade computers class, and today we're going to be talking in depth about Google Docs. It's one of the applications you guys have on your Google Drive. Last time we got together as a class, you guys learned about Google Drive and made folders for all your classes, so today we're going to start delving directly into the Google applications, and we'll be starting off with Google Documents on this part. As you can see, we're working over here on my laptop. You can see a screenshot of the Cyclone of Doom, which is our class mascot on my wallpaper. And as always, we'll be using our desktop screen capture. I'll be using my cool little annotation tool over here that you can see here, so that way it shows up on the application as well. So for this lesson, ladies and gentlemen, what you need to do, of course, is get logged into Google. So here's our Google web page, and we're going to show you guys exactly how to use Google Docs. So the first thing you do, what you need to do is look over here in the upper right-hand corner to the little waffle icon for your Google apps. Now, what you guys will notice on this little waffle icon is that you could either access Google Docs to your Drive, or you can click on Docs itself. Either one is perfectly fine. Personally, though, I like doing it in Google Drive, so that way you can automatically get sent to your folder already. So that's the reason what I'm going to do. So I'm going to click on Google Drive. I'm going to open that up. So here we go. We're back to our Google Drive once again. This is my example, my Google Drive. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a Google document. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, you go over here to the +1 symbol up here on the top. We click on that, and we click on Google Docs. Double click on that, and bam. It's going to open Google Documents for you guys. Now, we've done a previous video up before where we showed you guys how to use Google Docs, just kind of like a little introduction video so that you guys get into it. But we're going to go a little bit more in depth on some of the features that you guys have when it comes to Google Documents. So let's go and talk about that real quick. So the thing I want to draw your guys' attention to, first of all, are these menus that we have available. We have our navigation or menus up here at the top that talks about where we can do things like printing items, creating formats, that kind of thing. We also have our toolbars, which are located here as well, which are also really important because these are kind of like shortcuts that we can use in order to access information as well. Okay, so these are some examples of some things that you want to draw your attention to. So these tools can be accessed through your menus up here in the top, but these are like little shortcuts for you guys to use. Either way you want to look at it, if you want to use it through the menus at the top, or if you want to use the little buttons here on the bottom, that's perfectly fine. It is up to you how you want to take care of that. So just some real basic things to learn about Google Documents real quick. So for example, if we go up to our file menu, we can click on that. We can share our document. We can make brand new documents. We can make copies of them. We can download them as different types of files if you want to. So that's one of the cool things. So for example, if you're working on a class that wants you to submit a PDF like this and make it to a portable document format, you can do that, so that way you can share it across different operating systems, which is really, really nice. In fact, all my instructions I give you guys are given in PDF format, for example. You can do that. You can rename your document. You can publish it to a website if you want to type up a web document as well. You can change the language that's associated onto your Google document if you need to. So for example, if you're primarily a Spanish speaker, for example, you can click on Spanish. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Oh, where is it at? Huh. That's weird. It's not on here. Maybe it's Espanol. Let's take a look here. There we go. Espanol. You can click on that and you could use that instead. I mean, there's all kinds of cool things you can use. You can use page setup, print previews, all kinds of different things. In fact, if we were to hit the print preview button, what it would show us is a blank document because nothing's on it right now, but you can close your preview and you can take a look at what your document looked like before you print it up. If you click on edit, for example, these are your redo buttons and undo buttons. Let's say, for example, I am typing a sentence. I am very excited to teach technology. Right? Let's see, that's one of the sentences, and it says, this is going to be fun. This is going to be easy. Now, let's pretend, for example, that I delete this sentence on accident. This is going to be fun. I'm like, oh no, what do I do? Well, what you could do is you can go to your edit button up here, click on that, hit undo, and it corrects it, for example, right? Or, if you want to, let's go and delete that sentence again. You can use the exact same thing here in the toolbar, which is the undo button, and automatically undo it. So if you ever accidentally delete something, just click your undo button and it'll fix it. Or let's say we don't want that sentence, we can click redo and we can just delete it if we want to that way too. That's another way we can do it as well. All right, view, it shows you different layouts. You can look at your different screens. If you want to look at your item through a full screen, for example, you can do that. Hit escape in order to escape that. We can also insert pictures. We can also insert tables, drawings, all kinds of different things we can use for insert. We can use special characters, equations, all kinds of cool stuff. Formats for things like text, whether we want it bold or italicized. Do we want our paragraphs to be changed differently, line spacing, columns, all kinds of cool stuff there as well. And the nice thing about these insert and formatting abilities, we do exactly the same thing here on the tables down below. These buttons here do exactly the same thing for us as well. Tools, for example, are things like spell check. We can do a word count. So for example, if a teacher requires you to do something that requires a word count, you can use that as well. If you want to know what script editor is for things like coding as well as for making web pages. You use a Word document in order to create web pages, and this is exactly how you do that with script editing as well as coding as well. We get add-ons, we can do different things, and we can make our added features. We also got a little help icon here that can help us out navigate through this program as well. So that's an example of some of the things that you can do with Google Documents, which makes it really, really nice as well. At the same time, we also have our toolbars that we talk about here for our print buttons. This button for zoom shows us how we can zoom out for our document. So for example, if we want to see how our entire document looks like at 50% zoom, we can see it. If you have a hard time seeing something, you zoom into it like 200%, like, hello, this is a sentence for you to read. So you can zoom at 200%, see what it looks like versus 50%. Versus our normal 100%. You can take a look at that as well. You could change your text if you want to different types of different fonts if you want to as well. The most important font buttons that you guys are probably going to use as students are right here, which is this section of tool buttons right over here. These are the ways that you guys might want to make changes in formatting for things. For example, go ahead and clear that real quick. Let's say that I want to change the font on this. All I have to do in that case would be highlight my sentence and go up here to the type of font, and I can change it to Times New Roman, I can change it to Conforta, I can change it to whatever I want. Let's say I want to make it look like cursive. You know, whatever the case may be for your guys' fonts. I could also change the size of my font. I can make it really, really small, or I can make it ridiculously big. It's up to you how you guys want to do it. It makes it look really, really cool as well. All right, so at the same time, we can also change the type. We can make it bold like this, make it darker, or we can make it italicized, or make it italicized without bolding, or make it bold and italicized. We could also add underlines to it if you want to make it into like a sentence like that. Or of course we could take off any of it, not have any of it at all, just make it look normal. Those are what your little changes of text here right there are, for example. We could also use text color. Let's say, for example, we want to make this look like orange. There you go, made it orange. If you want to make it to blue, you can make it that color as well. If you want to make the next sentence similarly different, so hello, this is a sentence. This is showing, oops, this is showing you, actually, we'll leave that for that. Showing you how to make color, and I want to make this into a completely different color than that one. Let's say I'll make that teal. We'll make these all bold. Actually, teal is a really bad color. You may have a hard time seeing that. Let's make it red. All right, we can do that, for example. We can make all of our different text different colors if we want to. Now, if you're wondering why I misspelled showing, I accidentally did that on purpose, but I wanted to do that so that way I can show you a different tool. Let's say you want to check spelling on your guys' document. You can go up to your tools like this, click on grammar and spelling, click on that grammar spelling check. It's going to go through and it's going to show you the words that you misspelled. And if it's misspelled, you want to change it to the correct word, you can click on showing and you can sort of say, change it. And then you can see there, it made those grammar changes. It also made that spelling changes as well. Now, I will warn you, things like names, for example, might come up misspelled. In this case, it didn't come misspelled because I've been using this program so many times it recognizes my name as being not a misspelled word. But for example, if a name comes up misspelled, it's not that it's misspelled, it's that Google doesn't recognize that word, okay? So that could be the situation there as well. Another tool we could use, of course, is highlighting. We could highlight things as well. So let's say we want to highlight this portion here. We could just click on this highlight button, highlight it yellow, and bam, it's now highlighted. Let's say we want to highlight this in green. We can click on green, and bam, it's highlighted that way as well. All right, so those are like some examples. And if we don't like any of those, we could just, of course, hit the undo button and change it. All right, that could be an example. We could hit this undo button all the way back to the beginning if we wanted to. It's all up to you how you want to use those different formats. That's a nice thing about that as well. Now, let's go ahead and talk about inserting items. Let's say we want to insert an image real quick. So we can click insert image and we could look things like checking our computers for images, checking our Google Drives for stuff. We could all add all kinds of different pictures if we want to. So for example, let's say I want to add a picture. I'm going to use it for my computer. It's going to bring up my computer real quick. Let's go to my documents real fast. We'll go to my work computer. So we can look for images that we want to insert into our picture. So let's say I want to add my little my technology class thumbnail that I have in all my videos. I click on that and bam, the image shows up there as well, which is really, really cool. And if we don't like this image, you can click on it and delete it and change it up again, or keep it if you want to. We could also change the size of the image by clicking on this frame here. We can make it small, we can make it really big. This little frame up here on the top, we can change the direction of which this picture comes up on our stuff, like that. Let me go ahead and fix it. Make it straight again. We could also change the layout where the picture goes. We could have text going around it, so it says, hello, this is a blank sentence with the picture in the middle. We can change how we want to. It's all kinds of different things we can do with this. It's really, really cool. Now, when it comes to our image, we can even crop the image. Cropping the image means that you maybe want to have some parts of it missing. Let's say I just only want to have this little computer here. I could drag my crop tool to it, hit enter, and bam, it shrinks the image down to exactly that. I'm going to change that and go back to undo it real fast because I just want to keep it normal. That's an example of some things that you can add when it comes to images as well. So let me go ahead and destroy that real quick and let me continue on this sentence. So this is a sentence. This sentence is going to show you how to use Google Docs. I will show you all of its neat features and all the tools that you can use to work on Google Docs. All right, so that's an example of that. There are fonts, there are colors, I can insert images. All right, so this is like a little paragraph that we're working on here. And the reason why I'm showing you this, guys, is so that way we can show you how to change things. Let's pretend that I want to have my text show up in the middle here. What you can do is go to your little alignment button here and click on that. And as you can see right here, it's clicked on the left-hand side. Let's say I want to make it in the center. I can click on the center button, and bam, all my text now is going to show up in the center. Let's say I want to show up on the right-hand side. I click on that, bam, it's all lined up on the right-hand side as well. So you could use that for your alignment tool. So for example, if I was doing an assignment where I have my name, date, and hour in the upper right corner, I put down Patrick Mikasa, October 42nd, the year 3456, 101st hour. If I want to do that, I could click on all those and align it to the right-hand side like this, and it'll show up that way as well. And let's say I want to make a title real quick. Google Docs, like that, for example. I can make a title that way. And then bam, I also have my paragraph down below. All right, these are the alignment tools that are really going to help you out with that. Now, let's pretend that you guys are working on a paragraph and your teacher wants you to have your paragraph be done in double space. What I see a lot of kids do is they'll do this. They'll do this. Okay, this is what I see a lot of kids when they got to do double spacing. They will type up a sentence. Let's say they go, this is an example sentence of how students will double space a paragraph without knowing how, and they stop right before they get to the end. And like a typewriter, they hit the enter key twice. 1, 2. How to use the space bar. And then hit enter twice to go to the next text to make it double spaced. All right. If you are doing it this way, hitting the enter key twice, double space your stuff, okay? Don't do it, frowny face, okay? Don't do it that way, all right? Because one, it's not necessarily, and secondly, it's going to jack up your spacing. In fact, you notice how the word how is capitalized. The reason why is because Google Docs thinks you're starting a new sentence. It's automatically going to capitalize, okay? Don't do it like that, okay, guys? Don't do that. That just looks ridiculous. And the worst part is it makes it look like you don't know what you're doing. So, let me get that part taken care of real quick. So don't do that way, okay, guys? Don't do that. That's just ridiculous. What you need to do instead is use your line spacing buttons. Now, if you look at this little icon right here, it's a little bunch of little lines with some up and down arrows like that going on it. If you were to click on your text, let's go ahead and highlight my text real quick, and you want to double space it. Let's say this is the paragraph you want to be double spaced. We go to that line spacing, click on it, and click on double like this, and it's going to double space your line spacing for you already, okay? That's how it's going to help you out with spacing. Now with paragraphs, let's see, let me enter another paragraph here. This is my second paragraph, and I am going to show you how to indent your paragraph. All right. Another thing about this is when it comes to paragraphs, I see this a lot. When kids want to start a new paragraph, they go in their very first sentence, they click the space bar 5 times like this to make their paragraph. All right. Frowny face. Don't do that. Okay, guys. All right, you don't need to do that, all right? Let me go back and fix that real quick. Undo. All right. What you need to do, of course, is use your tab key. If you look on your guys' keyboard on the left-hand side, there's a button that says tab. All you need to do is hit the tab key once. Oops. One too many times. Once. And what you'll notice is that it automatically indents your paragraphs, okay? That's all you need to do to indent, all right? Do not do anything else. Hitting the space bar like 5 times like you're working on a typewriter is ridiculous. Because remember, a lot of programmers spent millions of hours developing these programs, so you guys have to worry about stuff like that. So don't do that, okay? That's just all kinds of weird. Now, these are some of the features that we can do when it comes to formatting. Now, the next button here, we have numbered lists, as you can see here, and we also have bulleted lists, all right? So let's pretend you want to make a bulleted list, okay? Oh, let me see what it says here. There we go. Now let's pretend you want to make a bulleted list of its neat features. So for example, my sentence says, hello, this is a sentence. This sentence is going to show you how to use Google Docs. I will show you all of its neat features and the tools that you can use to work on Google Docs. There are fonts, there are colors, I can insert images. Let's pretend I want to make these 3 sentences into a bullet. All you need to do, of course, is find the selection that you want to be bulleted in. Click the bullet number. Let's say make a numbered list. Click on that. Oops, not there. All you need to do is create a new line of text like that, and then insert your number text. So there you go. The first one is a 1. If I'm going to enter the next line, there'll be a 2. If I'm at the next one, I'll make it a 3. All right, so that's an example of what you guys can do for your text. Now let's pretend, for example, that I want this number to be beneath number 1, like it's a part of number 1. All I have to do is, of course, hit the tab key again. Now that tells me that this is part A of part 1, and that here's number 2, for example. That's how you can make your guys' outlines. You could also change your number list as well. Let's say you don't want to use numbers. Let's say you want to use letters instead. You can do that. Bam. As you can see right there, it changes it to letters automatically for you guys. All right, now let's pretend that you don't want to do letters at all. Let's say you want to do bullets because you think bullets look even cooler than numbers. You can hit the bullet key and it's exactly the same thing. Or let's say you want to change the design of those buttons. You can click on this as well and make it to like little arrows instead and make it look really super neato. It's up to you really how you want to lay out your guys' formatting on this. It makes it really, really simple for you to do stuff like that, all right? That's an example of some of the things you can change for your fonts. Now, let's pretend that you're making another one. Let's say there are colors, there are sizes, and let's see, blue, and let's say 14. All right. Now let's pretend that you're working your list and you want to say that there's a color under the colors bullet. You want to say there are other colors like blue, right? So you want to make it indent more. That's where these buttons come into effect. You see the increased indent and decreased indent and increased indent. By clicking on those, you can adjust where that goes on your list of items. So for example, if you want to make blue part of the colors portion, you can click it again. So that tells the reader that there are fonts, there are colors, and one of those colors is blue, it goes into that order. Or if you want to make it equal, like its own category, or send it even back even further to make it to its own specific category, we can do that as well. For example, if we were to do exactly the same thing with the number lists, let's go back to numbers here. We could easily change it. You can definitely see how that would change. Like it's part of section 1, or it's part of section 1A, addendum 1, and that, right? You can change the order that way, or you can make it into its own category if you want to. It's really up to you, for example. So we can go in like that, and hit those indent buttons in order to make that happen. All right, that's an example of some of the formatting things you can do on Google Docs. There's all kinds of different things you can do with this program. And that's just kind of like a brief little example of what we can do with Google Documents. So what I want you guys to do now on your guys' little document here, what I want you to do for the rest of the time that you have for class is I want you to just do one thing with this program. And it's going to sound kind of weird, but I want you to play around on this program, okay? The fastest and easiest way for you to learn how a program can do and what it can't do is to do exactly this. Experiment, try out different things, try all the buttons, see what ends up happening if you hit something. If you make a mistake, no worries. Close the document, make a new one, and try all over again. It's up to you guys how you want to do it. So I suggest you just take some time, get used to using this program, and just play around with it, all right? Try the different features, try the different buttons, try the different formats, see what kind of formats you can come up with, all kinds of neat stuff, all right? right? Like I said before, it's the easiest and fastest way for you to learn a program is just to mess around with it, for lack of a better word, and not have any fear of consequence, because a lot of kids are afraid of using programs because they're afraid they're going to mess things up. Well, we're going to eliminate that fear altogether and just give you time to mess with the programs. That way you get used to it. So for the rest of the time for today's lesson, all I want you guys to do is to work on this lesson and to just try out the different features of the program and just entertain yourself with it. See what kind of cool and crazy things you can come up with. So that's going to do it for this from you guys. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, leave it in the discussion box down below and I will get back to you guys as quickly as possible. But that's going to do it for today's lesson. You guys stay safe, you guys stay healthy, keep on rocking, and we will catch you guys on the next digital lesson.